Next section is about resources. The organization shall determine and provide the resources. So what that means is that now that you've determined your objectives and you've determined the scope of your business and you've surveyed the external and internal issues and interested parties, and you've had management commitment, including customer satisfaction and continual improvement, you have to set up a business and provide resources to it. Next two things are people and infrastructure. The organization shall determine and provide the persons, and the organization shall determine and provide and maintain the infrastructure necessary for the operation of the processes. Providing persons on this usually refers to enough, but it may also refer to necessary expertise, that is to say, trained persons. If you committed to a quality objective and continual improvement and customer satisfaction, does this not also mean that you're committed to providing enough people to run your business? So what the auditor will do very often is call you out. They'll look in the resources section of the management review and see whether or not you made any commitments to provide more people. And then if you didn't do that, he'll ask why, and then we can go from there. Here's some maintenance failure modes. The first one is this computerized maintenance management system. What people will do is spend a lot of time and effort feeding maintenance requirements on one of these computerized systems and then turn around and not do those and not have the resources. And if that's the case, the auditor can help get resources when that happens. Another one of these is forklifts and delivery trucks. Those things have usually OSHA or Department of Transportation requirements for daily, weekly, or monthly inspections. And what you'll do is find out two things. One is, did they conduct the inspections? And the other thing is, if they found something wrong with it, was it fixed? Another thing to look at is in the management review, a lot of times there will be maintenance action items assigned but not done. Now it's environment. The organization shall determine, provide, and maintain the environment necessary for the operation of its processes. A suitable environment can be social, psychological, or physical. Auditing the workplace environment for an ISO auditor is quite often a can of worms, and so I've used the words quite often a lot on this. And the reason is that this is not a safety audit or a OSHA audit or an environmental audit, but it is a following directions audit. So if you have directions from someplace, such as your interested parties like your customers or some government agency, it is fair game for the auditor to call you out on that. So quite often there's a requirement for customers to pass these on to the supply chain as well, especially high-profile customers. Here's some typical environment requirements. Keep in mind that any place on here where it says state of anywhere or some law of some type, that I'm not a lawyer and you're going to have to consult a professional to get an interpretation on this, but there are conditions such as heat, cold, dust, chemical exposure, shift work, and sleep issues. Overtime limits, tobacco use, lighting, and noise, all of which are remediated in some places in some ways, but not necessarily all. Next, we're going to go on to monitoring and measuring resources. The organization shall determine and provide the resources needed to ensure valid and reliable results when monitoring and measuring is used. Fitness for purpose is a thing on this. It doesn't have to be a device. Time and effort are resources. So if you determine that as part of your objectives are to spend time and effort gathering data on conformity, then that's a resource, and that's what counts to this. If it is a device, the question of the day is it functioning? The third question is the device capable of measuring to the appropriate measurement as defined somehow? So your auditor will look at the drawing, for example, and determine the tolerance, and then try to make a determination of whether the measuring device you're using is capable of measuring to that tolerance. Measurement traceability is a thing if you have to do measurements that have to be in agreement with somebody else's measurements. And the classic example of that case is the customer. If you're measuring something and it's 6 inches and the customer is measuring it and they think it's 6 1/4 inches, then it's possible that you have a measurement discrepancy and you have to iron that out somehow. So measuring devices have to be calibrated, identified, safeguarded, and if there's a discrepancy between the validity of the previous measurement and the calibration, you have to have a plan to do something about it. I'll let you read this list of measuring device failure modes. The most common one is the first one, which is there's a system to keep stickers on measuring devices and the stickers fall off. And also the second one, I was confused about the second one, which is if the employees know that they can't use a tool with an expired sticker and they can't use a tool with no sticker, why are they using the tool? The most important of these is the last one, which is the plan to do a product evaluation if a measuring device is found to be defective. The idea being that if you know you have a measuring device that's not working properly, did you or didn't you ship product that was out of spec that was measured by that measuring device?